All right, it's been a sad story this morning, so let's get more on that horrific story out of Rottnest Island where 3 passengers remained missing when a seaplane crashed into the ocean.
Now joining us live is aviation expert Keith Tonkin. Keith, thanks for being with us. Look, you've seen the vision. It looks as if the plane sort of dips slightly to the left. From what you have seen, what could have gone so wrong here?
Good morning, Monique. Yeah, it's a terrible situation for the family and the friends and the colleagues of the people involved in this situation. Don't know yet. There's a lot of information yet to be discovered through the investigation. We can see that the aircraft attempts to elevate off the water, and for some reason the pilot is unable to maintain flight, and the aircraft, as you said, dips slightly to the left and then impacts the water.
Keith, some of those bays around Rotto, particularly that one, Thompson Bay, can cop a lot of wind. It can get choppy on the surface there. Does the takeoff have an impact on being able to get enough sort of height and lift if the conditions aren't quite right?
There's certainly an important consideration for the pilot when they're deciding to take off, the sea state and the wind direction and the strength of it. And I expect that the pilot will have considered those issues before deciding to take off yesterday.
OK, talk to us about the investigation now. We know that it was starting at first light. What will the investigators be looking for?
Well, they'll be collecting all the footage that people have taken. It looks like there's a fair bit of that available. And they'll also be collecting information from the aircraft to find out, you know, the sort of parameters that the engine was operating at. Was it developing full power? They'll be understanding where the people were, how heavy they were, the weight and balance of the aircraft, and any other considerations that might have impacted on the pilot's ability to operate the aircraft safely.
Yeah, Keith, obviously some echoes of that accident in 2017, seaplane crash, Sydney, tourists taking off from a beautiful location. We learnt later on what caused that, but what comparisons, if any, can be made between that crash and this?
Yeah, the Sydney seaplanes accident was a little bit different. The aircraft being operated was a piston engine aircraft rather than the turbine that was in the Swan River seaplanes accident there in Rottnest. The piston engine aircraft, for some reason, had cracks in part of its exhaust system, and that allowed carbon monoxide to enter the cabin, and that can reduce the pilot's cognition and orientation, and it's thought that that was the cause of the accident there.
Obviously a fair bit to look into this crash, but you know, it's always a terrible thing with any air accident from such a great experience, particularly for what we presume will be tourists on board, to obviously end like this. Keith, good to have you on the show this morning. A bit of insight, thank you.
You're very welcome.